Hello. The first obligatory Gurdjieff movement. Yeah, I've been continuing my exploration and I seem to be able to perform it quite readily now, completely. And it was particularly helpful for me to work on it quite slowly. The movement, I think, is critical for those people who are interested in Gurdjieff's teachings, because the movement is the teaching, because it causes the substances and the structure of your being to function correctly. That's my conclusion after this little effort to learn it. I was just doing it again for a few minutes, and I could immediately feel my consciousness, meaning the state of consciousness that I have, becoming brighter. And you can tell that because it makes a very subtle sound, very, very subtle, but very distinct, for me anyway. And after I did the movement, I could feel it quite strongly, which means that the first obligatory actually activates your consciousness. Now, how it does that, I can only assume that what it triggers is the triam asikamno in the solar plexus, which is the location you feel your subconscious I. And because in me, due to my meditation practice, I also have the state of consciousness in the head, then that is also triggered. It's like a conscious I as well as a subconscious I. So I assume if somebody hasn't done a lot of meditation work, then they will be able to trigger the subconscious I in the solar plexus by doing the first obligatory. The movement, as it's set out, teaches you what to do. It first of all separates and then it reconnects. So it does the separate parts at the beginning. First the arms, then the legs, then the head, and then it does all three together. And for each part it does it 3 times progressively faster. And by going faster, you can train yourself to have deeper contact. How I understand it is that it's very clear to me that the legs, when they move, they seem quite distant from me. My legs certainly do move, but they're quite impersonal. They just seem very far away, quite different to my hands or my arms, which are quite close to me. I know my arms pretty well. If I want to manipulate something, I'll use my arms. They just come straight out of me. My head, of course, I use for thinking and mental functions, and it's not used to moving in the way that it has to do in the movements, forwards and back, side to side and so on. I'm not used to using my head like that at all. It feels quite uncomfortable to use it as a limb. So you can learn many things from this first obligatory. But yes, and when I am moving my legs, I can certainly feel that it happens very differently to the movement of my arms. It feels like it comes from the spine, basically, or from low down. And I assume then that what Gurdjieff is doing is activating the three centers, the moving center, the feeling center, and the mental center, and that the centers, the feeling center is controlling the arms, the mental center is controlling the head, and the moving center is controlling the legs. And because of the simultaneous nature of the movement, there's no other way of doing it other than for that to happen. And naturally, due to the close location of the feeling center to the arms, then that motor is connected to that apparatus, the arms, and so on. And yeah, so it's very clever, very clever, and pretty straightforward as well. But I mean, it's a very beautiful thing to use your body like this in order to change your being. That's pretty cool. And critically, you should realize that there is no other spirituality on the planet that knows about the Tri-Am as a Kamno in the human body. I don't believe there is one, at least none that I know of. In some traditions there is the concept of the law of three, Father, Son and the Holy Ghost, Yin, Yang, Yuan. It's there, but they don't understand its functioning inside the human organism. I'm not really sure whether to call it the human organism or the human being, or I'm not quite sure. I'm not sure if the centers should be treated as an apparatus outside of the being, or if they are simply part of the being. I'm not quite sure. Anyway, if you're listening to this, and you are wise, then just do it. And if it's difficult, if doing the first obligatory is difficult, then that's good. It's meant to be difficult, and the difficulty ensures that you're working. There is no work without difficulty. So just accept it and do it. I suppose it would be possible. Before I say that, if you're doing the legs, for instance, try to detect which part of the body is doing the legs. Try to detect it. And try to detect when you're doing your arms, which part of the body is doing the arms. In that way you can learn about the centers. At the beginning it's difficult to isolate them and to really, maybe you feel something, it's unclear, and so on. That's fine. But use the exercise in order to gain knowledge about the structure inside of you. And I suppose it would be possible to start doing the exercise automatically, mechanically, habitually. Don't do that. Try to stay fresh and monitor your state. I mean, that's a personal thing. I can't tell you how to do that. But if you feel like you're just drifting into some habitual movement, then stop. Don't do it like that. And I would say that in order to get good connection between the centers and the limbs, you should try to be deliberate. You see, you can, because you have a lack of confidence, you might try to do it quickly and just kind of like get it done and try to do it quickly. Don't do that. Try to do it deliberately, slowly, and you will make mistakes, but you will learn from them. Next bit. If you are lucky enough to detect a heightened state after the first obligatory, say you do it for 10 minutes or 20 minutes, if you feel that inside yourself, something brighter, then sit down. Sit down afterwards, sit down calmly, drop everything, and experience that state. Let it sink in. Let it marinate in. Become immersed in it. And in this way, let it last longer. Feel it, become more acquainted with it. Let it arise within you and enfold around you. At the beginning it may just be something very subtle, but you want to deepen that state, that consciousness. So this is how you do it. Sit down afterwards. Even if it's subtle, just try to remain with it. Let it flow onto you. Don't try too hard, but you can receive it more and let it bathe you. Let it bathe you and try to detect its quality. It may be very subtle, these things are very, very subtle. So remain quite calm and try to sense the quality of this state. Become intimate with it, bathe into it. This is very important because it is this intimacy that strengthens and deepens and makes ultimately permanent these states of consciousness. Bathe in it. Rest in it. Let yourself go in it. What does that mean? How do you let go? Just explore. Explore. Try a few things slowly. And in this way you can use the first obligatory to trigger a state of higher consciousness, and then afterwards you can sit down and rest within it and make that state a permanent part of you. If it's going to be a part of you, you need to be very much acquainted with it, so it really becomes part of your living reality. And then you can use the first obligatory really for many things. I heard that Ouspensky did not do the movements, which was a cardinal error. An error that you can't really recover from. Although perhaps I can't quite believe that he never did movements like that, given how much time he spent with Gurdjieff. Perhaps he just did the obligatory ones at the beginning and then wasn't interested in anything else. I don't know. I'll leave that with you then.